We have all been there. You give your team a crystal clear set of instructions on what to do and how to do it, and then you check in and they didn't do it. And somehow it appears like it's never really their fault. But there's sure a lot of finger pointing going on and shoulder shrugging and just a general lack of ownership. And so you start to wonder, do we even speak the same language? Do we even have the same goals? If you've ever felt that, you're not alone. As a fast-growing contractor, staff accountability issues, they're inevitable. So why is that? Well, think about how many people you actually manage between staff, and maybe you even have some subcontractors too. Now take that number and multiply it by 2,000 hours per year. That's how many hours you're responsible for every single year. That is a lot to manage. But here's the good news. There is a system that works, a proven way to drive accountability on your team, and without wasting time in pointless meetings and without being a micromanaging dictator. It's called the Goal Setting and Review Framework, or GSR for short. It's a one-on-one meeting framework that's going to help you set clear expectations with your people, create a cadence of one-on-one meetings that actually have a clear purpose, and hold your people accountable consistently and effectively. I've held thousands of GSR meetings in my time as a contractor and entrepreneur, and I still do them to this day. And I've watched as this has fundamentally changed the productivity of my team. So in this video, I'm going to show you how it's done. But first, what is goal setting and review? When I founded Breakthrough Academy, my goal was to provide the average contracting business with franchise-level systems without the franchise fee. And you ever wonder how massive franchises in the trades achieve consistency across hundreds or thousands of locations? Well, it is just this. It's the repeatable accountability systems like GS&R. In the franchise that I came from, this was a staple that we did week in, week out, without pause. GSR meetings are the highest leverage time that you will have as a leader with your employees. And they're designed to hold accountability and eliminate excuses, as well as just build rapport with your employees to motivate them to perform. Switching to a GSR model means no more meandering one-on-ones that everyone just thinks is a waste of time anyways. Fewer phone calls asking all kinds of random questions at random times, and an empowered team who don't need to be babysat so they can just do what they do best. GSR meetings are usually held weekly, and that might feel like a lot, but you're going to be surprised at how productive this can be when structured properly. Because you as the owner should only be doing GSR with your key employees. Often it's people leading sales, production, and the office. And then those key employees are usually doing GSR with their teams. So you are not doing meetings with every single person who works for you, but they are getting structured and done within the organization as a whole. The GSR meeting structure consists of 6 steps. Preparation, opening check-in, reviewing goals versus results, problem solving and learning, setting future goals, and admin items. So let's dive in. Step 1, preparation. The first step to a successful GSR meeting is for both the employee and the manager to prepare thoroughly and thoughtfully. First, you need to build a GSR dashboard for each person. Well, good news on this. We actually have a template for you, so make sure you check out the link in the description and grab it. At minimum, this dashboard needs to include annual deliverables for the role itself, a section to review goals from last week that were set, a section to set goals for the coming weeks ahead, a list of discussion items, and a list of admin items. You can also add company core values, a how am I feeling or check-in section, a space to list the support that they might actually need, and whatever else just makes this useful and human for you. Then you're going to have your employees prep using this dashboard. Their weekly GSR prep should include report on last week's goals, right? Did they hit? Did they miss? Let's be honest, and why? New goals for this week, split into primary and secondary priorities, and these things need to be SMART goals, no fluff or vague targets. And how that goal actually connects to the bigger picture, tying those goals back to the long-term deliverables that you have listed. A place to put the plan, right? Like what's their strategy to get all this done by the next GS&R? And the to discuss and administrative items. This is a list of all the items to discuss that aren't really included in the rest of the prep. Things like time off, job-specific questions, small problems not related to the primary or secondary goal. The idea here, though, is to discuss all these items in GS&R instead of over the course of the next 7 days with phone calls and random texts throughout the week. Their prep is critical. It puts the onus on them to set their own goals, which then gives them agency and investment in the actual outcome. Now that they've done their prep, it's time for you to review it. before the meeting. Seriously, do not skip this. Skimming it during the meeting, it isn't enough. You need to review what they wrote. Highlight discussion points, note key areas for feedback or support, and add your own discussion items to the admin section. Because otherwise, you're just winging it, and that 3 a.m. insight that you had, it's gone. And that thing you meant to say, you're not going to remember. Proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. Say that 10 times fast. Make time for both you and your team members to prepare for GSR thoroughly. Now, let's get into the meeting itself. Step 2, opening check-in. In the GSR itself, you want to start out on a personal note. This part matters, don't skip it. Spend the first 5 minutes just checking in. Ask simple stuff that shows you're listening and that you actually care about that person. How was your weekend? How did your son do in that ball tournament? How was your husband's birthday dinner last week? And make sure you are also sharing where you're at. What did you do last weekend? How are you feeling? And what are you looking forward to in the next week? So why do this? It shows you actually care. It helps you read where their head's actually at and actually build trust with them over time. And I'll tell you this, depending on their headspace, this can shift the entire direction of the actual meeting itself. Don't make this about work. Make it about getting to know each other on a personal level. Step 3, review the goals versus the results. After you've checked in, it's time to get into the meat of this actual meeting. Spend about 10 minutes reviewing their goals from last week. Look at what they accomplished versus what they actually planned. Celebrate what worked and ask questions about what didn't. When going through this section, make sure you're asking specific questions. Why didn't this get done? Was the goal realistic? What blocked your progress? Avoid turning this into a rant session or a vague just like back and forth. Keep them focused on outcomes and learning. Watch out for externalizing or finger pointing and just keep them focused on what they actually have control over. Step 4, problem solving and learning. This is where a lot of the coaching actually happens. If there are issues or missed goals, it's time to dig into why. Is this a process issue? Maybe it's a skill gap or a mindset block. It's important to identify these before moving into goal setting. Even if there were no issues and they actually hit the goal, there's still learning to be had. What enabled them to hit the goal? And how do we replicate this in the future? Problem solving is vital. It ensures that we're not doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. Step 5, set the future goal. For the next 10 minutes, you're now going to be setting the goal for the next week. Look at the goals they've set for themselves in their prep. Are they in line with the long-term priorities? Are they feasible? Are they meaty enough to fill up the next week, but not so dense that they're impossible to achieve? Make sure the goals are smart. Priorities are clear, and the plan to achieve them is realistic. And avoid cramming or rushing this section. This is the actual meat of the meeting. Finally, step 6, admin and discussion items. This is the last 5 minutes of the meeting, and you're going to go through the list of items that they'd added and you've added in your prep over the week. And finally, before closing the meeting, confirm clearly. Do you feel solid on your goals? Is there anything else you need before next week? Basically, this makes sure that all the little small things don't get missed and that they're clear on the path moving forward. So that's it. A step-by-step guide to holding your team accountable using the GSR framework. Look, I get it. Holding people accountable, it is really challenging, even if you have a strong team of A players. But GSR is a tried and tested system used by some of the most successful contractors out there. So make sure you grab your GSR template in the link in the description so you can get started on this right away. And if you want more help implementing systems like GSR that are purpose-built for contractors, check out Breakthrough Academy in the link below.